What's up everybody? My name is Sayla and today we are going to be talking about journals and journaling. I just filmed this entire video on my camera and for some reason my camera got too hot and it just shut off. So back to the iPhone today. I'm not sorry about it. It's what's working. So there's a couple main reasons that you might want to keep a journal in the first place. And I think that there are two main things you would want to keep it for. One is for your mental health. I find that journals are really helpful for rants, ramblings, whatever you need to like get out. And if you put it on paper, I feel like it kind of helps alleviate some of the stress you might feel. So for me, they're really helpful for anti-stress kind of resources for my mental health. And then also, journals are really great places for creative people to be creative. I think personally that they are really great ways to build kind of a creative body of work, or if you're having an issue with your current work, say in writing or in art or in blogging even, you can kind of journal about different things and get it out, and you end up, I don't know, enhancing your creativity is what I want to say. There are several different types of journals that you can keep. One of them is a fiction journal where you might just write stories or characters, or a journal about like problems you're having with like the plot in your story. Anything that enhances your writing you can put into a fiction journal, and that's one of the journals I have the most of actually in this stack. I'll kind of show you all my journals, but one of the things I utilize the most are like fiction journals. You can also have travel journals where you write about like where you've traveled to, what the experience was like, and then those are really cool keepsakes for later where you get to I guess go back and read through and like be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was in Italy and it was like this and this happened, XYZ, oh I totally forgot about that, just kind of as memoir writing almost. Then you can also keep art journals where if you're more of a visual person instead of like a written language person, you can just scrapbook and draw and paint all over different pages. Frida Kahlo actually used to keep an art journal and they have published hers and they're really, really cool to look through. She did write in them, but you can just not write and just draw and be creative and do whatever you want. Like a journal is a place to do whatever you want, which is cool. And you can make a list journal that's just a journal of like to-do lists or lists of favorite books or lists of favorite movies, especially if you feel like you get overwhelmed by the idea of writing like these beautiful paragraphs or something like that. You can just write lists and it's super easy to just like jot down what you're feeling in a list form. Like you can write at the top of the page things that make me anxious and then write a whole list of it. So that's a cool thing to do too, especially if you feel like you're having a hard time like getting started. Then the last type I want to talk about is journaling as like a creative scrapbook, wherein you can combine sort of all these different types of journals into one journal, which is what I like to do. So I like to draw, travel write, scrapbook, make collages, then do like all different kinds of fiction work inside my journals. Anything and everything goes, and you can put whatever in your journal that you feel like. So let me show you some of the journals that I have worked in, what some of my journals look like, and then I will kind of talk about what you can write in a journal, like what you can put in it. I have a lot of different ideas, and I'm doing this since I was probably 6 years old. It was my first journal, so maybe 5 actually, which I still have. It was like this little tiny diary that had, oh my god, do I have it? I wish I could show you. I don't think I have it here, but it had Anastasia on the cover, like Anastasia from the cartoon movie, and it like had a little lock that you opened with a key, and I talked about like losing my first tooth, which I lost it when I was 5, so yeah, I started journaling when I was 5. But let me show you some of mine, and hopefully this will just like give you guys some ideas, and we can kind of like share different journaling ideas in the comments below. Alright, so let me show you my current journal. This one is really big. I am almost done with it. I am right here. So I have this much left to go and it's driving me nuts. I really want to finish it. So what I like to do, what I have done in this journal is I have a bunch of keepsakes up front. Then mostly I write really close cursive all together. This whole journal is filled with it. But then I also ended up using this as a travel sort of scrapbook where I put menus from restaurants we liked, tours we did, like little photos in here. And then I also did, I taped in some things like we traveled Europe for 2 months, and I did my Eurail pass that we used. I put in here so that I could see the dates of when we were in every city and which cities we went to and things like that. And then, yeah, this was a note my friend wrote me for the trip, so that's cool. And then, yeah, the rest of this is just postcards, cursive writing. This one I've had for a while, so this is my current journal. And before this, I really like, let me see, I have all of these journals, which are all eco-friendly journals made out of their handmade paper, which is what I really like. And all of these are filled with cursive writing that's really close together. I use them as fiction journals, but I mostly just journal for my mental health, so I've done this forever. That's filled with it. They're all kind of filled with the same writing, which is just how I like to write. I use a Sharpie fine point pen, and love it. That's like my favorite way to journal. You can see all of them are full of it. So yeah, I have about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus my current journal. I have eight where I just write like cursive fiction, and these are from college. But before that, what I used most often for my journal were these Mead notebooks, which are so cheap. I used these all through like junior high, high school, and I have a whole shelf of them in my house. I'm not going to show you all of them, but they're just filled with lists, rants, ramblings, like whatever you want. This one has fantasy books that I wanted to read in here. Lots of stuff. So yeah. That. I also use these giant, notebooks, kind of like these, sometimes for journals, and these are the ones that I art journal in the most, because you can tape whole magazine pages in them if you want to, and then write over the magazine pages. But yeah, I have like little doodles in these, tons of lists, like packing lists for when I go on trips and stuff. I think this was like a budget list for money we needed for some of our trips. And then I have like articles I've written in here, different things like that. Same with this one, I think. This one is filled with, this one is novel plotting that I've done. So I used this one as a novel plot page. And the reason I like these giant pages to plot books on is because you can also draw. You can like draw maps for fantasy novels. You can draw what your characters look like. You can do anything. On here I did like a sketch of my workspace and what I like to have around me. Here's kind of a kind of map I drew in there that's terribly drawn. Morning rituals, schedules, anything and everything can go in these. And then I have a couple, like these two back from high school when I used to want to work in like the magazine industry. So these are full of magazine pages, articles that I really liked, in addition to, oh my god, it's so full. In addition to like fashion spreads that I just taped out. And this was something I went through probably 700 glue sticks in high school making just like scrapbook journals like this. So that's something I did all the time that I just found to be really relaxing, especially when I got home from school. I would like go and work on these and kind of just feel like I was like locked in my own bubble, which was nice. Especially if you have a difficult high school experience, it's really good to journal, I think. Same with this one. This actually has that list, what makes me anxious, with like just a sort of thing in here. Different cutouts from magazines that I just wrote over. That one was the Olsen twins, obviously. Stuff like that. So I have pretty much every kind of journal that you can have. Those aren't all of my journals because, like I said, I've been journaling for a long time, so I have shelves full of them. I have some at my parents' house, just a ton. And then I also have some journals that I've utilized as gratitude journals, where I just write lists of what I'm thankful for, things like that. This one I just got started on, but it's pretty. And then my next journals that I plan on writing in, but have not yet because I'm trying to finish that one tree journal that's taking me forever, are this one, which was gifted to me by my husband. It's like this really pretty kind of like shiny sun print, and it has nice lined pages. I don't usually write in journals that are this small, obviously, so I'm kind of excited to see how quickly I can get through this one, and just like I'm excited to fill it up. And then I have another one that I bought in New Orleans, which has this really cool, I don't know if you can tell what this is. It's a raven on the cover, and it has all these it has the same handmade paper I really like to write in, and then a velvet cover with like a little ribbon in there, but it is full of paper. So I have been waiting to write in this for a very long time, and that'll be probably my next one that I work on. Oh my god, I have a whole stack here and they're all falling. What am I gonna do? It's okay. It's all right. Let's get into the different types of things that you can write in your journal. All right, hopefully I will figure out how to put these up, pop them up and down right here on the screen as I say them, but if I don't, sorry. Tons of stuff you can put in a journal. I mentioned earlier you can put whatever you want in there. I thought it was really helpful in college. Our professors gave us this like huge list of things that we could write, so we don't ever have those days when we are like, what do we write about? I don't know. Because the point is just to write without being self-conscious about what you're writing. The first couple things you can write in your journal are dreams and nightmares. If you have a particularly bad nightmare and you journal about it, in my experience, it helps me write down my nightmares because then they don't usually like recur or like happen again if I write them in my journal. You can also write dreams, which I find is really helpful if you have a really good dream, like one of those dreams that you wake up and you like want to hold on to, you want to keep dreaming about. You can write that in your journal. You can write any type of dream. You can write weird dreams in your journal. You can do anything. You can also write stories in your journal. Like you can write fiction stories that you don't know if you want to write or not, but you want to just like get out of your head and onto paper. You can write little snippets. They don't have to be finished because it's your journal. You can write as much as you want or as little as you want about them, but you can definitely like get story starts in your journal. Another thing that I feel like is really helpful in journal writing is to go online and find journal prompts and just like follow prompts down a page, especially if I'm stuck. They're really helpful. Some journal prompts focus on your mental health, some focus on personal development, some focus on career, some focus on writing, some focus on art. Like there's tons of different prompts online. You can search for them on Tumblr, Pinterest, Google, they're everywhere. So if you're ever feeling stuck and like you don't know what to write about, but you want to write in your journal because it's helpful, just Google journal prompts and just like start with prompts and then eventually something will come out. You can also make drawings, collages, art pieces, anything like that. You can scrapbook stuff from your travels or just your day-to-day. Like I put concert tickets in my journal a lot of times. You can put wristbands in there from like a festival you went to. You can do anything. You can put rants and ramblings in there, which are my favorite thing to do when I'm feeling like there's an issue I just don't know how to solve at work or in my home life, personal life, things like that. I just rant and ramble and nobody ever has to see it, which means that your harshest words are probably like getting written down, so you're not going to say them to another person, which is good. And I'm not saying I'm not like a super angry person. That made it sound like I was really, really angry, but I'm not. But I do find it helpful to rant first in my journal, and it kind of helps me collect my thoughts, and then I can talk to somebody with like a level head, especially if I'm angry. That's what I meant to say. You can also journal overheard conversations. If you hear a particularly funny or weird or entertaining conversation when you're on the train or the bus or just like walking around or in a shop, you can journal everything that people say, which is also really helpful in fiction writing because it helps you get like dialogue down between people and helps you like focus on what people are actually saying. You can put quotes in your journal. You can put quotes and reflections about those quotes in your journal, which I like to do when I find a particularly good quote that I don't want to forget about. I put it in my journal, talk about it, talk about why it resonates with me, things like that. You can journal about critiques of books, critiques of movies, critiques of TV shows, or thoughts about them. They don't have to be critiques. They could just be like, I loved this and let me tell you why, and like it was so amazing. You can do time capsule entries in your journal with just journaling about things that happen in the news so that there's like a written record of it, because those things might come in handy in the future. Or if not, like when you're older, you can go back and like be like, wow, this happened and I have a whole journal entry about this thing that happened that my like friends are asking me about, or whatever. Yeah. You can also put in memories, which I really like to do, especially if you have a good memory from when you were a kid or like a difficult one. You can go through and just like write everything you remember and just get it out of your head. You can write essays, you can write about your fears, you can write letters, which is really helpful, especially if you've lost somebody in your life or you're like experiencing grief of any kind. You can write a letter to that person still in your journal, and I don't know, just tell them everything you like would have said or want to say. Or you can write a letter to people to someone in your life that you're not telling the truth to, somebody that you want to say something to, just anything. You can write a letter about anything to anyone, and it's amazing. You can also do writing sprints in your journal, which, if you don't know what a writing sprint is, it's basically like set a timer and you just write without stopping. And it can be like, you can literally write, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to say, like 100 times, and then eventually something will come up. But the point is that you keep writing and you don't self-edit, which is, I think, important in journaling, is to not edit yourself. So if you're gonna tell the truth to one place, you should tell it to your journal, right? Yeah. You can write affirmations in your journal, which are just like, if you're having a difficult time, but you wanna stay positive about it, you can write what you're grateful for and then give yourself an affirmation, which is just like, you know, I am at peace, or like, everyone I know is safe, something like that. And then you can also, lastly, make mind maps in your journal, which is basically like if you're feeling flustered or like your mind is chaotic at a certain point, or you just are kind of feeling all over the place. Mind maps are where it's like a brain dump. It's your chance to just like get everything out on the page. You don't have to write like in straight lines even. You can just write in bubbles or circles and get everything out on the page, and then seeing it on a piece of paper helps you organize those thoughts. So if you have this long to-do list of all this stuff you have to do and you're feeling really frazzled, you can write down in all these different bubbles all the things you have to do, and then looking at it, you can then take it and put it in order of like what you need to do next, what comes after that, etc., etc. Okay, so I'd love to know if you guys keep journals, what kind of journal you keep, or if it's just a conglomeration of everything. And then if there's anything I missed, like anything you put in your journal that you want other people to know, please leave it in the comments down below. Like, I would love to know any type of thing that you're putting in your journal, because I love getting ideas from other people about journaling. And yeah, I guess just happy journaling, happy writing, and I'll see you guys with another video soon. Bye!